Oregon's Cram Fire is raging toward megafire status. A new 1,000 baby investment account program kicks off, and we've got the rundown on America's most stolen cars. And the trivia question, what's the tallest type of grass? It's Tuesday, July 22nd. This is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning and welcome to the Flyover Podcast. I am your weekday host, Ayla Brown. It's Tuesday. There's a lot going on today, especially in politics, so let's take off. The Cram Fire in Oregon, burning near Madras, has consumed nearly 96,000 acres, making it the largest wildfire in the U.S. this year and approaching megafire status. Dry conditions and high winds have destroyed homes and prompted evacuations in Jefferson and Wasco counties, with firefighters achieving 49% containment. Across the eastern U.S. and Midwest, severe thunderstorms are delivering up to 4 inches of rain per hour in the Ohio Valley, triggering flash flood and tornado warnings from Missouri to Maine. A heat dome in the central U.S. is pushing heat indexes toward 115 degrees in cities like Chicago later this week. Next, under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act signed into law this month, babies born in the U.S. from 2025 through 2028 are eligible for $1,000 investment accounts, known as Trump accounts. The funds, which must be invested in low-cost stock index funds, are inaccessible until the child turns 18, with families and employers allowed to contribute up to $5,000 annually. The program aims to foster long-term wealth building and financial literacy, with an estimated 4 million eligible newborns each year. Though its $4 billion cost over 4 years has sparked discussion about fiscal impact. Over 850,000 vehicles were stolen across the U.S. in 2024, with the Hyundai Elantra ranking as the most stolen car in 20 states due to its absence of electronic engine immobilizers in models from 2011 to 2021. And this doesn't help either, but social media videos demonstrating easy hot wiring methods contributed to the theft surge. Full-size pickups, including the Chevy Silverado 1500 and Ford F-150, were also frequent targets, particularly in rural and border states, due to high demand for their parts. So let's go through a couple of states to see the most stolen cars. Florida, it is the Hyundai Elantra. Michigan is the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Texas is the Chevy Silverado. What about your state? The list can be found in the show notes below. Just lock your car, though. Here are your top political headlines. A federal judge in Washington, D.C. ruled that the Trump administration broke the law by shutting down a public database that tracks how federal agencies spend taxpayer dollars. Judge Emmett Sullivan ordered the Office of Management and Budget to reinstate the public apportionments database, which Congress mandated for real-time transparency. The House GOP's campaign arm, the NRCC, pulled in $32.3 million in the second quarter of 2025, edging out the Democrats' $29.1 million haul, a first since 2021 for beating them in both Q1 and Q2 of an election cycle. The funds, fueled by small dollar donors and PACs, signal strong momentum for Republicans aiming to hold their House majority in 2026. ICE Director Todd Lyons announced the agency will arrest anyone in the U.S. illegally, even without a criminal record, as part of the Trump administration's aggressive immigration crackdown. With nearly 150,000 deportations since January and a goal of 1 million by year's end, ICE is using new funds from the Big Beautiful Bill to expand operations through tactics like workplace raids have sparked community backlash. The policy shift, reverses Biden-era limits, prioritizing serious offenders but sweeping up others too. The Trump administration unsealed 200,000 pages of FBI surveillance records on Martin Luther King Jr. following Executive Order 14176, despite objections from King's family. The files, sealed since 1977, detail extensive monitoring of the civil rights leader, igniting debate over transparency versus privacy. You can see the files in today's show notes. And lastly, the White House has barred the Wall Street Journal from traveling with President Trump on his upcoming trip to Scotland, citing, quote, fake and defamatory reporting related to President Trump's alleged ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Today's episode is brought to you by David. Each David bar is packed with 28 grams of protein, just 150 calories, and zero sugar. High protein, low calorie, no junk. Sounds great to me. Trying to hit your protein goals without wrecking your diet? David makes that easy. Just grab a David bar and go about your day. Protein helps build muscle, protect your bones, and keep you strong, especially as we get older, and all of us are. With multiple flavors to choose from, just try the variety pack. You're going to love them all. And if you buy 4 cartons, get the 5th free. Head to davidprotein.com, or if it's easier for you, just click the link in the show notes below to check it out for yourself. Here are some bonus stories just for listeners of the Flyover podcast that you won't find in the email edition. A SkyWest pilot had a close call while landing in Minot, North Dakota Friday night. As the plane descended, the pilot had to pull an aggressive maneuver to avoid a B-52 bomber returning from a flyover at a state fair. The flight had been cleared to land, but the pilot says air traffic control failed to mention the military aircraft. Luckily, no one was hurt, but since the airport lacks radar, the FAA is now investigating the incident. Speaking of turbulence, Hunter Biden is stirring things up after saying that Ambien may have played a role in his father's shaky performance during the first 2024 debate. In a new interview, he claimed President Biden was jet-lagged, sleep-deprived, and had taken the sleep aid before stepping on stage. And he also compared him to a deer in the headlights. The White House hasn't confirmed any of it. Meanwhile, if you've eaten at a fancy restaurant lately, you might have unknowingly blown past your daily sodium limit before dessert even hit your plate. A new report reveals that chefs at high-end spots, especially in cities like New York, are loading the meals with hidden salt to boost the flavor. Everything from salted butter to cured meats and salty garnishes layered throughout the meals. Doctors warn it's quietly fueling high blood pressure and heart problems, even as chefs argue it's just what keeps diners coming back. That's your podcast extra roundup. Looking forward to giving you more exclusive content in tomorrow's podcast. Coming up, President Trump announced that he may block a deal to build a new Washington Commander Stadium in D.C. unless the team reverts to its former name, the Redskins. More on that after finance. In finance, Southwest Airlines announced that it will break its 50-year tradition of open seating. That means they'll start selling assigned seats on July 29th for flights beginning January 27th of 2026. The move allows the airline to charge extra for premium seats with more legroom. According to a Southwest survey, 80% of customers preferred assigned seats. Southwest also said that they'll start doing red-eye flights in 2026 as well. So love it or hate it, at least they're listening to their customers. Costco is shaking up its food courts, replacing Pepsi with Coca-Cola products after a 12-year run. The transition begins now and is expected to wrap by fall of 2025. The switch, driven by a new supplier agreement, covers fountain drinks and bottled beverages, bringing back Coke, Diet Coke, and Sprite to its 600 U.S. warehouses. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent called for a top-to-bottom review of the Federal Reserve, urging a look beyond its $2.5 billion building renovation controversy to assess its overall effectiveness. Speaking on CNBC's Squawk Box, Bessent questioned whether the Fed had met its mission amid tensions with President Trump over high interest rates, with a potential rate cut eyed for September. Here's your stock market update. Yesterday, the Nasdaq rose 0.38%. The S&P 500 inched up 0.14%, while the Dow slipped slightly by 0.04%. Over in crypto, Bitcoin edged down 0.26%, but gold had a strong day, climbing 1.71%, likely benefiting from its safe haven appeal. And in standout stock news, STEM Incorporated surged 23.26% after reports highlighted its growing software revenue and ongoing cost cuts. In sports, President Trump announced that he may block a $3.7 billion deal to build a new Washington Commanders stadium on the old RFK Stadium site in Washington, D.C., unless the team reverts to its former name, the Redskins. The team rebranded as the Commanders in 2022 after 2 years as the Washington football team. They say they have no plans to change back. That's according to owner Josh Harris, who emphasized the name's integration into the team's culture. The threat tied to federal land control has stirred debate, with a 2024 Washington Post poll showing 58% of fans dislike the Commanders' name, but only 16% want the old name back. Next, a 14-year-old flag football player from Atlanta, Georgia, became an overnight sensation this weekend after his spectacular one-handed touchdown catch in a youth league game that went viral. NFL stars like Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill praised the catch. And if you haven't seen the video of it, this superstar leaped over multiple defenders and caught the ball with one hand while almost flipping into the air and landing on the ground. You have to check it out in the show notes below. It's pretty fascinating. And NHL superstars Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl surprised fans by playing in a beer league hockey game on July 16th at the Magna Center in Newmarket, Ontario, which is McDavid's hometown. The Edmonton Oilers duo, wearing practice jerseys, they didn't score, but I'll tell you what, they created a buzz among amateur players, with officials noting that their speed was, quote, nothing like minor hockey. In science and technology, a Chinese company, UB Tech Robotics, unveiled its Walker S2 humanoid robot, which can autonomously swap its dual batteries to operate 24/7 without human help. The robot is designed for industrial tasks like warehouse logistics. Speaking of AI, in a 10-hour programming marathon, a sleep-deprived Polish coder narrowly defeated an OpenAI model to win the World Coding Championship. The contest required solving complex algorithms under time pressure, with the coder's creative problem-solving edging out the AI's speed, though OpenAI's model scored 95% accuracy. It goes to show you that human grit can outpace machine precision, at least for now. And astronomers have spotted a small icy body named 2015 OU-194 orbiting in sync with Uranus in a rare, stable relationship that's lasted 1,000 years. Scientists have actually dubbed it Uranus's girlfriend. Detected using the Hubble Space Telescope, this object, roughly 100 miles wide, maintains a 1-to-1 renaissance with Uranus, a phenomenon seen in only 0.1% of planetary systems. Still to come, it's a wild time for 80s memorabilia. I'll tell you how much Indiana Jones's iconic bullwhip just sold for at auction and the surprising royal connection that it has to Princess Diana. Here are a few interesting stories you might have missed. Homeland Security is considering scrapping the 3.4-ounce liquid limit for carry-on bags, a rule set in place since 2006, thanks to advanced CT scanners that can better detect threats. The Transportation Security Administration began testing these scanners at 15 airports in 2025, but a full rollout across all U.S. airports could take until 2040 due to costs exceeding $1 billion and logistical changes. Next, Malcolm Jamal Warner, best known as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, died at 54 years old after drowning while swimming off Playa Cocles in Costa Rica's Caribbean coast during a family vacation. Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Department reported that a strong current pulled Warner under, and despite rescue efforts by bystanders, he was pronounced dead by the Red Cross, with asphyxia listed as the cause of death. The actor, who earned an Emmy nomination for his role in the 1984 to 1992 sitcom, left a lasting legacy. Next, Trader Joe's reusable tote bags, priced at only $2.99 in the U.S., have become kind of an unexpected fashion statement in London, where the grocery chain has no stores. Brits are snapping them up on resale sites like eBay for over $25, flaunting them as badges of American travel. I think I should go buy some of those at Trader Joe's now. And next, an Indiana Jones bullwhip once owned by Princess Diana sold for $525,000 at a July 2025 Sotheby's auction, part of a blockbuster sale that also included the Citizen Kane Rosebud sled, which got $1.2 million. The whip, a gift to Diana from the Raiders of the Lost Ark production team in 1981, drew intense bidding due to its royal connection and, of course, Hollywood history, with auctioneers noting a surge in demand for 1980s film memorabilia. Here are the surprising results to yesterday's poll. Do you play golf? 52% said no, 20% said I used to, 18% said yes, and 10% said occasionally. I am incredibly surprised that the majority of you don't play golf. I would have bet that most of you would have. And here's the poll question for today. Coca-Cola or Pepsi? I don't want to start a fight. I really don't. But the options are Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or neither. It's neither for me. I can't remember the last time I drank Coke or Pepsi or any soda for that matter. But if I'm going to, though, give me a root beer, because I've loved root beer since I was a kid. You can vote in the show notes below, and I'll read the answers in tomorrow's show. Trivia question: what is the tallest type of grass? I knew the answer to this. Did you? It's bamboo, a member of the grass family that grows on every continent except Europe and Antarctica. One type of bamboo was measured as 137.9 feet tall, making it the tallest grass in the world. That's it for today's episode of The Flyover. Thanks for watching, listening, sharing, and leaving those 5-star reviews. Seriously, they make a big difference. I'll be back tomorrow with more headlines. Until then, thanks for flying with us.